financial advisor is warning the masses getting set to splurge for the Christmas season to think carefully before putting themselves in high-debt situations. He urged parents of young adults to advise their children to practice saving when they just enter into the working world, instead of being enticed by consumerism.
'Tis the season to be jolly, followed closely by the season to be broke and in debt, as people ring in the Christmas season with an array of presents and new, well, everything. However, one financial advisor is warning that whilst this behavior is somewhat traditional, and he would not dissuade persons from going all out, he is advising them to do so wisely. More so, Peter Alexander is going the step further by advising parents or guardians of young adults just entering the world of employment to practice saving rather than to be lured into the culture of consumerism and debt. Proper financial advice from the age of 18, he said, could set a young adult off on the right foot.
People have got to be cognizant of the fact that the days of spending lavishly around this time are no longer. What one can do, as I do, I can give from my personal standpoint, is I try to buy certain things throughout the course of the year. So, for example, if you know your friends come and they drink a little chairman's rum with you, then you know you need 2 bottles or 3 bottles around Christmas time, then you spread it out throughout the year. So what happens is that there is no need to buy in bulk around this time. What I find is that a lot of the young people, and it's not their fault, and I'm not blaming anybody or the parents, is that the parents don't know any better. So a young person gets a job at, say, 18, 19, and because of what they see around them, all the advertisements, all the consumerism, then they tend to get into it. And by the time somebody tries to pull them back, they are so far in that it's difficult for them now to adjust to do the right things. We normally say that you should invest at least 10% of your income into savings every month. So like it's pay yourself first. That should be the basis.
Alexander said money lending companies capitalize off persons stuck in the borrowing loop, and so borrowers need to beware of the pitfalls that lie in wait.
One should be cognizant of the fact that there are high interest charges, meaning that, you know, for example, if you go to a bank and probably you take a $2,000 loan, and the rate is about 6 or 8%, then you might only pay, you know, a few $100s in interest. But some of these, some people like to call them loan sharks, where the interest rate is whatever it is, and in some cases that whether or not you pay off the loan before the agreed term, that you still have to pay the interest. Okay, so people should avoid these as much as possible. And even for your basic items like your televisions, your fridges and so on, you should have something like an emergency fund where you save a certain amount per month towards that fund. So that in the event you are faced with that crisis, that you're able to go into that fund and pay for it in cash. Because most of these hire purchase or fast cash and these kind of companies, as I said, by the time you finish pay off the item or whatever it is, you have paid more than 1.5, sometimes twice the cost of the item.
To the persons already stuck in the cycle, Alexander said there is a way out, but it takes time and discipline.
Sometimes we'll tell you, okay, you need to stop where you're at now and look at a plan to probably pay back what you have and then stop there, and then we can start. In some cases, it may take a year, it may take 2 years, but that's what the sacrifice that you may have to make. When we sit down with you, we do a budget and we show you areas you can cut back on. And hopefully, if you do follow the advice, a lot of people don't, trust me, when we give it to them. And then, if you do follow it, then you can start to see a light. And remember that your situation did not happen in one day. So don't expect that a financial advisor will give you information and you start doing it and expect in the next couple months, you know, your situation will change. That's not likely to happen. It takes time, it takes commitment, it takes perseverance to really sit there and have a financial plan and follow it to the T, and then you will start seeing the lights at the end of the day.
Alexander said it is a fact that most St. Lucians live above their means, where they earn money but cannot account for where it is being spent, and so they find themselves in a perpetual cycle of debt. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I am Rochelle Gonzalez.
The Consumer Affairs Division in the Ministry of Commerce is reminding citizens to be responsible as they do their Christmas shopping. The division is providing helpful tips to citizens to guard against buyer's regret and ensure they have a Merry Christmas season.
Shopping has become synonymous with the holidays. During the festive season, many indulge in sales, promotions, and other marketing gimmicks set up by retailers. During this time of the year, the Consumer Affairs Department is encouraging consumers to shop safely and wisely. The department has advised to make a shopping list beforehand and adhere to a budget, as this will go a long way in keeping consumers from experiencing buyer's remorse. Consumer Affairs Department's Information Officer, Melissa Williams-Davy, also encourages shoppers to inspect all goods before purchase and keep all receipts.
We ask consumers also to inspect all goods carefully before leaving the store. Scrutinize goods for quality, signs that they may be damaged, and in the case of clothes and shoes, ensure that they fit comfortably. Also ensure that consumers are given a receipt. Should something go wrong with the item or the item is defective, your receipt is always proof of purchase. It proves that you bought the particular product at the place and the date you are claiming.
Shoppers should also ask relevant questions before making a final purchase. Williams-Davy expressed that information concerning the durability of an item, after-sales service, warranty or guarantee, and even reputation of a store should be made clear before purchase.
Many persons do not like to read, and so reading comes into play. We ask consumers to read your instruction manuals, contracts, and labels. Always check for the expiry dates. That is very, very important. And of course, items that are expired should never be purchased. And I repeat, consumers do not buy any expired product from any store.
The Consumer Affairs Department stated that these shopping tips are not limited to just clothing and electronics, but rather the department urged persons buying meat from local butchers to ensure that the inspected and passed stamp from the Ministry of Health is available. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I am Solaj Alfred.
Preparations for the 2020 ASU Square New Year's Day celebration have commenced this year far ahead of previous years, in what Mayor for Castries Peterson Francis described as an intuitive approach to produce a better quality event for patrons. Francis says the 2020 festivities will focus heavily on the promotion of local music. As we gear up to welcome in the new year, the CCC has been working feverishly to set up this year's ASU Square tents. As you can see behind me, the buildings have already been erected for what seems to be a very organized ASU Square 2020. Castries Mayor Peterson Francis says the early start to preparations on the event's venue was scheduled to ensure a smooth flow of activities for all stakeholders.
We started early this year because, when you put up this tent, we have to have electrical, lighting. We have to make sure that the safety, that these tents are not things while people underneath will fly. Apart from hurricane. So we have done it very early so that we could get the Ministry of Infrastructure for the electrical guys to come and make sure everything is in order.
Francis says this year's ASU Square festivities will focus heavily on the promotion of music made by young local artists.
What we are looking at, probably in the entertainment part, we are trying to look for more, but again try to involve more young people try to expose more people and so on. That's basically what we're doing. But we are going to try to put as many more and local. We don't want a situation that you hear is reggae being played and you singing foreign artists songs and on these things. So we want to localize.
He urges young talents to come forward to be a part of the upcoming celebration. Leaving no question to the location of this year's ASU Square festivities, you know where to find me on that day, right here in the Open Flame section, finding the food. For Hot 7 News, I am Jacques Wooding. You're watching the Hot 7 Nightly News. Stay with us.